the embassy in your country, because they believe that the embassy in your country should have a first-hand knowledge of what is happening. For instance, if you say human rights are being violated in your country, the embassy would have first-hand knowledge. If you say it's environmental challenge, the embassy would also have not literally first-hand knowledge, but to an extent, because you actually know more than them, but then they should also be able to verify that on ground because they are in your country. So they will be able to assess the things you've written, the essays you've done, answering the questions that is contained in the atlas, and they will be able to assess if you've actually touched on the interest of the Dutch government, the things that the Dutch government are interested in, if probably what you said is aligning with their interest and if they are true. So the embassy will assess this. After assessing, they usually used to grade it. So they will assess it and grade people depending on the number of people that they want for that year or the amount that they are bringing out or they doled out to be able to fund scholarships for that year. They'll be able to grade people. For instance, A got 80%, B got 60, the other one got 50, just like that. So once they have graded all this according to the guidelines that the OKP sent to them, with which they would assess you, then after the grading, they will return the feedback to NUFIC. NUFIC is a body, sorry, I forgot to mention that from in the beginning. NUFIC is the body that is administering the scholarship itself. OKP is the knowledge of the scholarship. Under NUFIC, NUFIC is the body that is administering the scholarship, and the NUFIC is also by the Dutch government here. So they have a body with which they implement the scholarship itself. So the embassies will make the recommendations to NUFIC. Embassy will probably bring out the list of those who scaled through or who had high percentage and said, NUFIC, here is the list. So we are recommending that you pick A, B, and C, and D because they scored high, and because, of course, that this is the number of quota that is expected to get the scholarship or that you people are budgeting for this year. So they'll be able to, that's why it's very competitive. When you write, you'll be able to make sure that at least you score in your assessment, that at least you get a higher score to stand a chance in order to be among the people that will fit into the quota for that year. So for others who were not able to scale through or make higher points, they would also recommend to NUFIC. Then NUFIC will now select according to the quota that they intend to pick for that year. They will be able to select from those recommendations made by the embassy and then give them the scholarship. They will send their names to the schools, to the institutions, that the institutions will now let them know, oh, congratulations, you've received the scholarship. We were glad to inform you that you were chosen, and then you can go ahead. Or maybe we're sorry that you were not chosen for the scholarship, but then it's not the school, it's not the school that selects. It's the embassies that we assess, recommend to NUFIC. Then NUFIC will now select and then send back to the schools where the applications are coming from. So that's how it works. Then I said the next one here is the timeline for decision and outcome. Usually the OKP scholarship have 3 round applications in a year. I think the first one is for the short courses. The second one is for the master's program. Then the third one is also for some short courses as well. So the master's window for those intending to go for master's and other, maybe PhD, I think it's only one window that usually opens in a year for that. And that's between February and March. So if you're planning to study in the Netherlands this year and you haven't started, I think there is also still time, because this is 9th of January. So there's still time, so that by the time we are in February, getting out of February or beginning of March, your admission letter must have been out, and then your school will now nominate you if you meet the eligibility requirements for the OKP scholarship. So the timeline for the decision and outcome is usually from March. When you submit in March. For last year we submitted in March, but then because of the COVID that changed a lot of things, the outcome came out later in June. I think June 13th. So it came out a bit late, but then it's because of the COVID. So the whole system is just trying to work around the new normal and everything. So it came out in June. That was like 3 months. And then you would know whether or not you are going to, come to the Netherlands to further your studies. Then the last one here is the final outcome and preparations to travel. Once you've been able to get the scholarship, your award letter will be sent to you, and then the school will, through email, let you know the next step to take. At every point in time, the next step to take, how you should start your visa applications, things you need to get, and documents you need to get and sign, and then send back to them. Just basically, the admission office will take it over from there. So, and then that would move to my conclusion here. That's the end. And of course, I wish everybody well. And I said something here that teachers can open the door, but it's a Chinese proverb actually, but you must enter it yourself. So the knowledge that teachers impact in you, the knowledge that you be able to get from us, and of course they'll be able to guide you and open up your eyes to see the steps to take once we're able to help you open the door. But then you must enter into it yourself. So thank you everyone, and I hope I didn't exhaust my time. Thank you, Malik. I think you need to take it over from here, the moderator.
Thank you very much, Vixen. Thank you for your starting place. So now the question to just use the raise hand option in the chat column and ask question. You raise your hand. And, all right, we have Wisdom here, Wisdom Draft 4.
Yeah,
Wisdom.
Thank you very much for this particular program. I'm Wisdom Draft 4. I just wanted to ask about the short courses. Let's say if your leave will be able to take you, let's say, I think according to the presenter, he said, I think the minimum is 3 weeks. Let's say, so if your leave period can take you to go and do that, do you still need the assurance letter or permission letter from your employer to do that? Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, you still need Wisdom. Thank you for that question. You still need your assurance from your employer because the OKP or the NUFIC believes that you're coming from an organization. You're not going except maybe you're going as a freelancer, but even if you're going as a freelancer, they would ask you to get an assurance, or probably more like an undertaking from an organization that can attest that you have these qualities, and through them you can be able to implement the knowledge you are gathering or you will gather during your training. It might be during your leave period. Let's say you are taking 3 weeks leave, and then maybe you assume there is no need to inform your organization or let them know. You still get the employer statement. It's like a must. You get the employer statement. Your employer needs to know that you're going for this training, and this are the things you're expected to learn during your training. And these are the knowledge, how it's going to help the organization to grow when you get this training. My colleagues, my fellow scholars would talk extensively about the employer statement, but yes, you still need to get it, even though it's in your leave that you're going for the training. You still need to get the employer statement. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So because of the time factor, we'll proceed with the next presentation. After the presentation, we'll take all the questions. I think that will help. So let's proceed with Miss Blessme Ajani. She is a public health practitioner with a focus on adolescent and youth sexual and reproductive health rights and family planning. She is also the initiator of Global Girls Hub Initiative, a youth-led organization which has been empowering adolescents with life skills and sexual and reproductive health rights education for the past 5 years. And she is currently the family planning youth focal person for Nigeria, also an OKP scholar. So she will be presenting to us on application forms and the essays required.
Oh my God. Oh Lord, I can't believe that was me. Sorry. Hi guys. Yeah, Vincent, that was a very fantastic presentation. You practically said everything about what KP is about. And thanks, Prince. However, it's okay. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's so good. It's so good to be talking to you guys. I'm so very, very an informal kind of person. I don't like all the formalities, make it look like we're into some serious decision-making business about coronavirus. It's a lot. We just want to talk and just, right, guys? Yeah, so well, I had its intentions to just gist and talk about my experience, maybe applying for the scholarship and all of that. But they've asked that we do some PowerPoint presentation, so I'll just share my screen. Oh yeah. So I hope you guys can see my screen. And I'm very sure you can hear me clearly, right? Okay, good. So normal slideshow. Who starts a presentation with thank you? Bless me. Oh yeah, great. So now I might not necessarily be able to see the participants, but yeah. I've been asked to talk about answering the essay questions in the Orange Knowledge Program Scholarship. Vincent, I've talked about the whole three documents to be filled for the scholarship. Yeah, so for the essay part, there are three main questions three main essay questions, and I think it's the same for every school, irrespective of the school that you're applying for or you have applied to. It's still the same. The link is specific to you, as Vincent has said, and of course, it's the same question that is in the link, despite the fact that it's kind of specific to you. So yeah, how do we address the essay question? The first essay question, there are basically three essay questions, and it's generally 4,000 characters. Of importance is the fact that it's characters, not words. So it includes spaces, commas, the character counts includes spaces, comma, full stop, any kind of character, numbers and all of that. So yeah, what is the problem or what is the issue or problem you like to address in your country? I think one important factor that I heard Vincent talk about is the fact that you must have been working. The scholarship is actually meant for people who at some point working. However, I know that people who have at some point in time volunteer, the most important thing is you have an experience. Experience is what is really important. So yeah, how do you address this kind of question? If I'm talking too fast, let me know that I'm really talking too fast. I can really talk so fast sometimes. So yeah, so the first thing is to discuss the problem with relevant evidence. So for instance, the question is, what is the problem you like to address? And then you say that, okay, so I would like to address the problem of insecurity in Nigeria. So you need to tell us, okay, is how insecurity is a problem in Nigeria, maybe with relevant statistics, relevant evidence. When I mean statistics, I'm talking about evidence there. No, so for some courses, you might not necessarily have statistics. Or another quick example is you say, I want to address the problem of poverty in Nigeria. So why is the problem of poverty a problem? You need to tell us the number of people that are hungry, maybe the number of people that are living below dollar, and then compare to the standard, right? For instance, for people that are in the health sector, if you are talking about discussing what the problem is, you'll be talking about, maybe you want to talk about malaria, you'll be talking about malaria is a problem because this so there are 1 million Nigerians or 1 million Ghanaians living with malaria every day and all of that. So, and then these are the factors that are contributing to why malaria is increasing or why malaria is a problem. I think that's another important thing you should talk about in your essay. You need to also discuss relevant experiences in relation to the problem. So you could say probably you've been working in on the project, maybe on a malaria project, maybe where you work, you will now say that based on my experience, maybe distributing mosquito nets or something, based on my experience, I found out that so children, or maybe you're working as a nurse in a hospital or anything, you say based on my experience, so children, I see children coming with malaria even when this is preventable, right? By probably using bed nets and all of that. So yeah, you need to look at what are the relevant experience that you have that you've seen the problems while you're at your work. For instance, people who are in the sexual and reproductive health space, you can look at, oh yeah, during my work, maybe you do community awareness and all of that. You saw that girls were getting pregnant, maybe due to ignorance, or they were getting pregnant because they were because they are poor, and then people are taking advantage of them, just to make ends meet and all of that. So share that your relevant experience. I think that is really key. And the experience should come from your work, like your work in the context of where you have said you are working. And just to put into perspective, most likely during your school application, they would have asked you to submit your CV. While you're applying to your school, you would have submitted your CV and all of that. So to some extent, and then you are still also going to submit your CV for the OKP. Your experience, your essay must also flow with what you have in your CV. So you cannot say that you work as a nurse in the hospital, and then you are giving your experience, you are sharing the experience of a journalist. While a journalist can have a perspective of the problem, the perspective of someone who is a nurse or a doctor is quite different from the perspective of a journalist, right? Even though it's the same problem. However, they tend to always have like very different perspective to it. So you cannot say that. You should ensure the flow, the logical flow of the conversation. I think another important thing is the consequences and the effect of the problem. So why is it a problem? If I say Nigeria is poor, or the problem I want to solve is poverty. So there's poverty everywhere in the world. So how is the poverty? You need to discuss how the poverty is affecting the country, or how the effect of the problem. For instance, you say that you want to address the issue of sexual and reproductive health or teenage pregnancy. So how is teenage pregnancy a problem? Like, what are the effects of teenage pregnancy? You might not be, for an instance, an effect or a consequence of teenage pregnancy is the fact that the girl cannot take care of herself. She becomes a liability to the country, and then she probably remains poor. Such kind of consequences. Or you are looking at tackling the problem of HIV. You need to be able to establish why HIV is a problem, right? Or the effect of people getting HIV around the effect of not addressing HIV in itself. So you need to be able to discuss that, and then also propose solution. So you've identified that, for instance, maybe the problem is prevention of mother-to-child transmission of HIV, for instance now. And then what are the possible solutions that you think might solve the transmission, or might put an halt to the transmission of mother-to-child transmission of HIV. An example could be the fact that you do proper awareness. If mothers I will encourage mothers to come to antenatal clinics so that they can learn about mother-to-child transmission and take preventive medicine and take PrEP. PrEP is like I think they have I think there is an intervention that talks about prevention of mother-to-child transmission. There is like a therapy for them. So, and then encourage mothers to. So those are like some kind of solutions that you can propose to the problem. What you feel could be the solution. You don't have to be right. It is your own idea of the solution, whether you are right or not. So that's that. And then you now ask me all these plenty things that, bless me, you are saying that we must put in an essay of 4,000 characters. How do we go about it? The point is, the most important thing is it's not even about the length of the words. How long the essay is, how large the essay is. People have seen essays that they don't even use up to 2,000 characters, and they still got the scholarship. However, these are some key points. Just make sure that you touch base, and it's about saying your story right. And that's why having your own personal experience is really, really key. So the next question is, how will this enable you to address this issue? So now, the course that you've applied for, that's what the question is about. How will this enable you to address the issue. And that's why one of the important things is the logical flow. You must have a problem, the effect of the problem, the possible solution. Now, the next essay, if you did not answer the first essay right, you might be having issues answering the second essay, because the second essay is say, okay, some of those solutions that you've proposed, how do you intend this course that you want to come and study? How will this course help you to solve those problems? And this is where you need to talk about the skills that you need to gain to be able to implement the solutions that you've proposed. It could even just be one solution. It doesn't have to be 3 solutions, depending on what problem you're looking at. So one of the things from this conversation is start thinking about it. Why do I even want to go for a master's? What problem do I intend to address even during my master's studies? Like, what are the problems in Nigeria, or in my course of working? What are the problems that I'm seeing? Just start thinking about them even before you apply for the essay. So now this is where you need to discuss the skills. For instance, one of the important skills is problem solving skills anyway. So I'm just giving you like Orijo. That's one skill that is important in every kind of field of work that you might seems to have. And then it also depends on the kind of job that you're doing, the kind of skills that is needed. For instance, I work in the public health space. So I think I wrote about skills. I wrote about what skills? Analytical skills and statistical skills. Yeah, and I also talk about epidemiological skills. The skills that that you really needed in terms of. However, some of the very common skills that you can learn from being a master's student is, number one, critical thinking. You need that to solve any problem in this world. Analytical skills, you need that to solve any problem in this world. And of course, there are some specific skills. For instance, somebody who has applied for a journalism course, you might be looking at focusing more on communication skills, which is one of the important, or research skills. I know that there is investigative journalism, or you might be looking at research skills and all of that. Research skill does not necessarily mean that now you gather everybody and all of that. I know, depends on the kind of work that you do and the skills. So this is where you talk about it. And the skills must relate to those solutions that you've proposed. And then another important thing to talk about is, of course, that's like the normal thing that we all say, expand our network. That's why you want to go and do masters. At least I've met some really wonderful persons in the Netherlands. I met Vincent. Yeah, so you might be looking at, and one of the good things about studying here is the fact that you meet an array of people from different backgrounds, not just Europe guys alone. You meet people from other African countries. So yeah, I think it's a very important point to say, yeah, you want to expand your network within the community of practice. And what I meant by community of practice is simply people that work in your field, in your space, in your workspace. So it's kind of another word for it, is just community of practice where you practice your profession. Yeah. And then another important thing is you can also talk about why you chose Netherlands anyway, so that you psych them too. For instance, for sexual and reproductive health, Netherlands seems to be one of the countries in the world who is getting it right to their sexual and reproductive health programs and policies. They have very amazing comprehensive sexuality education programs, even right from primary school. So yeah, so you could look at why did you choose this Netherlands. For instance, if you're a journalist, I don't know, or you are applying for something around security, rule of law, around security, you might be saying, oh yeah, another reason you want to study in Netherlands is because you know that Netherlands is one of the safest country in the world, and to be interesting to know, or to know directly from how they are trying to solve the issue of insecurity, how they have tried to arrive at the level of safety. In fact, it might be interesting for you guys to know that prisons in Netherlands are empty, unlike in Africa. In fact, they are turning a lot of their prisons for other purposes, and people hardly get into trouble. Check Google. Netherlands is one of the safest places to live. You can walk any time of the day, in the middle of the night, anywhere. So in case you are writing something about security, and all of that. About sexual and reproductive health, Netherlands is the #1 country in the world where they are doing well with their comprehensive sexuality education. So you might say, yeah, because of this, it's important to also talk about that here. And then finally, for this, be clear that you are going to implement what you have learned in your country. So you need to show the intention to go back to your country. Note my word, I said intention. Anyway, once the scholarship expected, because one of the aim of the scholarship in Nigeria, or in Africa, in all the countries that they are, is to build the skills, help those countries to build their personnel, human capital development, basically. So they don't expect you to come and study here and stay in the Netherlands. It is expected that you come and go back, ideally. Anyway, so yes, you must be able to show intention to come back to Nigeria after getting all these skills. I said Nigeria. I'm Nigerian, no vex. Come back to your country to implement all of these skills. And finally, I hope I'm not taking too much time. And finally, how does the position you hold within your organization enable you to address the issue upon your return? Still the same 4,000 character. I think even here, I didn't write up to 4,000 character, maybe just like 2 paragraphs. However, the most important thing to discuss is look at your job description of the current job that you are doing. What are your roles that relate, that can help you solve those problems? For instance, I'm FP 2020 Youth Focal Point for Nigeria, and I've told them that, I want to solve sexual and reproductive health problems. So as a Youth Focal Point for Nigeria, what kind of role what is my job description that can help me solve that kind of problem? And at some point I have talked about behavior change communication. I have talked about implementation of our policies and all of that. Now, one of my big roles is for me one of the big roles of my job in Nigeria is I support the federal government of Nigeria to develop policies and also around adolescent sexual and reproductive health. So now, how do I use that to answer this question? Now, based on my job or based on my position in my organization as the FP 2020 Focal Point for Nigeria, I engage with key stakeholders, and I will use this platform to discuss contemporary and relevant issues with the stakeholders that would then inform development of policies, right? So, which I've talked about some of our policies that are not up to date and all of that. So the most important thing is the logical flow of the 3 essays. You can't say a different solution in essay number 1 and come and say a different solution in essay number 2. And well, some people might want to ask me and say, oh, maybe I've only seen maybe you are talking from only your perspective. Actually, most of the essays, people got selected. That's one of the things that they did. However, I also had somebody who reached out to me who was a lawyer in Nigeria, and then he also applied for this scholarship when I applied, but he didn't get it. So he reached out to me, and then I didn't even know him. He reached out to me via social media, and he just basically wanted to know why he wasn't selected. So I told him to send me his essay. And then I realized that one of the mistakes that he made was the fact that the logical flow of the essays were very, very, it was disjointed. The logical flow of the essays was disjointed. And when I compared it with mine and showed it to him, he himself agreed and said, oh, now I know why I didn't get selected. So that logical flow is very, very, very important. And I think basically that's it. However, another important point that I would like to add is the fact that the scholarship is not really academic based. In fact, you can finish with a 3rd class in Nigeria, in Africa, in Ghana, anywhere you are, from your first degree, and you can still get the scholarship. You don't need to have it's not GP based. I don't think they are not so concerned about your GP. They are simply concerned. Once you can enter the university, once you can get an admission into a university with your grade, you can get the scholarship. So they are not concerned before,
Hello, kindly unmute yourself. There was a noise coming from the background, so I muted everyone. Bless me.
Oh, okay, guys.
Yes.
Sorry. Where did I lose you guys? Okay, I know that I was talking about the fact
It's
that
not based on the GP. It's not based on
thank
GP.
you. Yeah, that it wasn't based on GP. I've seen people who had a third class and they got the scholarship. And I think that's a very good one. Finally, we got a scholarship that is not GP discriminating. Yeah, and at this point, I'm going to say thank you so much. I hope you've been able to pick one or two things, and I'll be happy to answer any of your questions.
Thank you very much. Thank you, bless me. We are so happy to have you. Thank you for eloquent delivery. So because of time factor, I will not take questions for now. We'll go straight to the next presentation with Mr. Eric Mataba, a master's student as well, studying development, doing development studies, an OKP scholar from Tanzania. With that much, give us his presentation.
Hello, guys.
Hi, Eric. We can hear you.
Okay, well, let me share my screen. I'll try to be brief.
But we can't see your face.
You can't see my face?
Now, we can see you now.
Yeah, so I think I'll just go to my presentation and try to be brief as possible so we can at least have more time for questions. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. So my part will be on the employer statement and the government statement. Because when you're doing your application with Delta after you have received everything, so you have to have attachments. And one of those is the employer statement, which includes an action plan, a plan of activities, which you'll have to do after you complete your course. And then you'll need a passport and an admission letter, which you got after you did your application, and also a government statement, which is dependent on the country. So not every country really needs a government statement, just few of those need a government statement. So it will be very wise to actually look at if your country needs it or if you don't. For instance, I didn't need a government statement from Tanzania, but when you're from Ghana, you'll need a government statement. So you should look at this. So basically, the employer statement is, it gives the permission to the candidate that the organization is actually affirming that they're allowing you to go and study. And they also still declare that they'll continue paying your salary, and you'll definitely have a position, at least the same position when you come back. And they also have a plan of action about the activities which you'll do after you complete your course. So I've looked down, the LKP NAFIC has a template of how the employer statement should be structured, which is basically on two parts. One first is like the general information. It should be submitted on the official letterhead of the organization, and you should always have your superior details, and also like full candidate details. So like your name, full name, your date of birth, position you're in, the date from when you've been employed and from what country you're from. You should have your course details, like, okay, what course are you doing? Be it maybe an MA, for example, in development studies, from maybe September 2021 to December 2022. It will be maybe at the University of Amsterdam in Amsterdam. So that is followed by the declaration. And then like your superior will have to sign and provide the official emails and website, plus the organization stamp. These are also that can help the embassy to actually check for the details and actually ensure that they're authentic and that everything which you're actually saying is true and it exists. So the bit of a hard part that's on the employer's statement is the part 2, where you actually have to give out the name of the organization and its mission statement. be it, for example, if it's an NGO or an organization, it would be maybe in its website or something. If it be it a government, or it will be in its Establishment Act. So like the main purpose of the organization and the three main activities that the organization does. And then you'll have to tick a thematic area which actually aligns with the country focus. The Netherlands has a country focus, as Vincent has already explained, a country focus where maybe they're focusing on food and nutrition security, water, sexual and reproductive health and rights, security and rule of law. And for example, for Tanzania, we also have media. So when you have to look at these and make sure like where your organization fits and how you also tick this. So if it's something extra, you also add it there, another theme which also you can add. Then data about the candidate. So again, your full name and your position, the function is the same as position, and your tasks. Like what do you usually do at the organization and how do you actually work about to complete it? And a very important part is the relevance of the study program, where it's the relevance to the candidate and relevance to the employer organization. As Blesmia said, they're characters. It is not just word, it is 50 to 1,000 characters. So it's something with a short, brief, but straight to the point. And it should be on par with your essays. What you have written in your essays is also should what be shown in the relevance. So when you're saying you want to fix poverty or you want to fix freedom of speech, you want to fix health rights, you should also show the relevance in the employer statement. How would that help you? And how would that help with the employer organization? So when you're writing your essays, you should also look at how you're going to also frame the relevance of the study program in your employer statement. The plan of activities is that as an organization, they should have a plan of what you're going to do at least 6 months after you've completed the course, because the scholarship expects you to go back home and continue with your work with the organization. So within 6 months after you're back, they should have a plan of how you're going to use the knowledge and experience and skills you've gained from your course to actually make a change along the lines which you actually have expressed in your essays and on your relevance to the study program. So be it maybe you're going to start doing outreach programs, or you're going to do training, or you're going to do, research. You'll have to show a way of how you're going to place objectives with the particular activities and the period of implementation. It doesn't have to be long, it depends, but at least 4 or 5 months, at least you show a 4 or 5 months plan of what you're trying to do would be very good. So for that, it's usually, that's mostly the government statement in brief. The employer statement. The government statement is for selected countries, as we said, so you should check with your country, and for the links which Vincent has provided, you can find the documents which actually give out which countries need a government statement and which don't. And the format is different with each country, because when you look at the document, it also shows you which office you go to take the statement from. So it's different offices with each country which need a government statement. So you have to look at this. The OKP provide like a brief template of it, but it's not the same, or it won't be the same with what your government will provide you if you really need a government statement. So you have to make sure of that. And something very important, please prepare the employer statement before you start your application in Delta. Make sure you have all of these documents with you before you start your application in Delta, because Delta is a one-way application. You can't save and then come back later and maybe add some documents. So when you start your application with Delta, you already have the essay questions. It's usually the same. You should at least have, or at least a draft of what you're going to write. You should have the employer statement ready. You should have your passport, your admission letter, everything ready in PDF form. You attach them after you've filled in the application form. So please have these way before you start your application. So for me, I've tried to be so brief and so fast so we can have a lot of time for questions.
Yeah, that's true, Eric. I wish I can be that brave.
Yeah.
So that's
Could I
highly
just
informative.
Thank you very much, Eric, for that brilliant presentation. So I think we've picked a lot of things. From one thing all of you are always emphasizing is for the presentation to flow, the presentation should to flow such that you are not saying one thing in the other essay and saying another thing in the other essay. So I think that's brilliant. That's a point I pick myself. So at this point, we allow for questions. First, we have Claudia Musa here. She's been raising her hand since. Claudia.
Good evening. Can
Good
you hear me?
evening,
Hi, we
Claudia.
can hear you.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much for this session. My question is, number one, for the employer's letter we get to issue to you, what if you are coming from a different sector? I mean, for example, if I'm working in the agricultural sector and probably want to move into the health sector, how do I get, and maybe on my return to my country, I do not want to continue with that same sector I'm in. So how do I get them to issue me a letter that I'll present to the Dutch embassy?
I think I should take this.
Yes,
Okay.
you can take that.
Okay, Claudia. The most important thing is, do you have the relevant experience to be able to switch into another sector, from agriculture to health? Do you have the relevant health experience? Then if you do, it's more or less, I would categorize you in people that fall under the freelance category. But then what you need to do is, if you have the experience, probably you volunteered before to an organization, a health organization, you can approach them and let them know that this is your intention, that you want to pursue further your passion, you want to learn more about the health sector, which is the new forte or the new course or the new area you want to go in, that they should issue you an employer statement. And again, let me emphasize a little bit, just to buttress what Eric has said, in the plan of activities for the employer statement. It's really not a rocket science for the plan of activities, just basically how are you going to use this knowledge that you will get to be able to solve certain problems that you have outlined in your essay. For instance, as I'm a journalist, I identified human rights violations and, of course, other things, bad governance and the rest of them. I mean, these are issues peculiar to Africa to an extent, even though they also exist in other parts of the world. So, but then I identified these problems as things that I need to solve as a journalist. And then from my position, how do I hope to do them? First, as a journalist, I hope to craft out programs. As a producer, I'm going to craft out programs, radio programs that will talk about these things, that will bring in analysts, bring in opinion leaders to talk about them and help to reshape the conversation and how people perceive these issues. And secondly, I might decide to write commentaries, radio commentaries that will be aired to help people know more about these things and why we should also emphasize on it, the issue of human rights violations, that you violate someone's right today, you probably don't know what that singular act would result in the future. So I craft out radio commentaries that can address these issues. These are just like how you hope to implement the knowledge. And like Eric said, the emphasis should also be on the duration that you want to allow this to run. In your plan of activities, usually it's advisable to specify 2 years. Like if the end of your program would be in September 2021, you can write down in the end of the program, you can write down in your plan of activities that you want it to run, that you will start implementing it from October or November 2021 to probably 2023. So it's usually advisable to give it a 2-year lifespan for the implementation to run. But aside that, if you want to switch over to another sector, you have to approach a relevant organization. As that means you are regarding yourself as a freelance. You have to approach a relevant organization in that particular sector to issue you an employer statement. Otherwise, they might not even consider application, because that employer statement is like the cocoa. It's like one of the main things that actually ought to look out for. So.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So we take the next question from Carol Bless Amu.
Prince, and thank you, presenters. I would like Eric to redisplay his slide number 4. It seems I couldn't grasp the content of that slide, particularly how the, I think, employer statement or something should look like.
Okay, thank you, Carol. The slides will be shared to you via your email, so I don't think that will be necessary right now. We'll share the slides with you after the program. Hope you are fine with that. Carol.
That's fine. I hope
Yeah,
it's as soon as possible.
Hello, we can't hear you, Claire. Carol.
Hello, Prince.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Claire. I was saying we will share the slides with you via your email.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, thank you. So the next person here is Derek Van Dyke. We'll take a question from Derek. Hello, Derek. Okay, if Derek is not there, we can have Samuel Bediakan.
Hello. Derek is here.
Hello. All right.
Derek is here. Yeah, I want to ask. Yeah, I'll check the government statement for Ghana, but I didn't see any office out my statement. They didn't say any office or mention any office for the Ghana side. I just want to know where I will take my government statement. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Government statement requirements. I think I downloaded the document earlier. And for Ghana, we have General Administrative Office. Are you following?
I'm here.
Ministry of Finance. At the Ministry of Finance.
Ministry of Finance.
Yes. At the Ministry of Finance.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome. Okay. We have here Samuel. Is Samuel around?
Yes, Samuel is
can
here.
Take your question now.
Yes. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. And then I also like to thank your panelists for giving the opportunity for people to learn as to how to apply for this OKP scholarship. I know there are sometimes some scholarship programs that sometimes require that you should have this International English Licensing Test, IELTS. I don't know about this one. Would it really require this? Then apart from this, we also want to know, I personally want to know about the government statement. Where is it going to come from? All right, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So are you in Ghana? You are in Ghana, right?
Yes, please.
You are in Ghana, okay. So the government statement for those in Ghana is coming from Ministry of Finance. So you are, they've specified the office, General Administrative Office, Ministry of Finance.
Okay.
And they specify that you go there with your recent CV as well as an introductory letter from your employer.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
All right. How about the distance there?
Your other question, I think one of the.
Does it require IELTS? I mean, this particular scholarship.
Okay, so I think the presenters will take that.
Okay.
Hello, bless me. Can you kindly take that for us?
Okay. So does it require IELTS? It depends on your school. I think the first thing to know is while you're applying to a school, find out if the school requires you to write IELTS. I think the scholarship itself, it's not the scholarship itself that requires you to So that requires your test of proficiency of English language? No. So it depends on the school you're applying to and the course you're applying to. So another important thing with Netherlands school is you need to be sure that your course is being taught in English before you apply. That's if you are not interested in learning Dutch. So because their major language in the Netherlands is Dutch language. However, some of their courses are taught in English language. So yeah, it depends on the school whether you require IELTS. The school requires you to write IELTS or not, and whether your course is taught in English or taught in Dutch, basically. And I would also quickly like to add to the lady that asked about agriculture and health. So another interesting way is if you can find a link between agriculture, where you were before, and where you want to go to. So I know a friend who was basically in the public space, and from public health space, she went to development sector, development studies, and addressing gender issues. So there's, to some extent, there's some kind of interrelation, but it depends on what you're doing. For instance, if you are doing something in agriculture and you want to come to health space, a good interlink is nutrition and malnutrition problem, right? You are coming from an agricultural sector. Malnutrition is both a problem of health and is a problem of agriculture. So that's a very, you can look at the interlinkages between where you are coming from and where you are going to. And in case there is none at all, that might be a little bit difficult, but I'm sure there are always some interlinkages. For instance, I'm in the public health space and I want to go into journalism. There is a linkage because in the public health, we do things that has to do with communication. So I can move from there. And if I'm going to journalism, I might be talking about health communication. I might be talking about behavior change communication. So that's a very fantastic link. So I think a very easy way is for you to look for a link between where you are before and where you are going. And it makes it interesting because in your essay, you can prove why you want to move from where you are to where you are going, and you might probably get it. Because I might be logging out soon. I am so sorry that I might not be able to end. I have some 2 pointers I would just like to give before I leave, just in case the opportunity to talk did not come back to me. Is for your essays, for your essays, as we're talking, I just remembered, for your essays, just 2 pointers. One thing I've learned about writing is people write in different ways. However, always ensure that you give somebody else another eyes to look at your essays. Maybe I can't say I'm like the most excellent writer in the world, but I know that even as a professional, there are some things that you will have added in your mind. You know, there are some words that you'd have kept in your mind, but you didn't put it down there. So always give to a second eye to proofread or read your essays for you. It could be somebody who has won the scholarship before, or somebody who has won any scholarship before. And finally, a friend of mine couldn't get the scholarship because he didn't copy and pasted into the Delta very well. So Eric talked about the data as a one-way thing. Ensure that in case you are copying from Word and then you want to paste on the Delta platform, you copy and paste everything and be sure that it didn't cut away. And that's why the characters are important, because you will just copy, paste, and then it's going to cut away the remaining things. Once it's just that 4,000 characters and cut away. So because essays were not complete, or, you know, because of the part that went away, she couldn't get the scholarship, even though she had a fantastic essay. Yeah, I think that's all from me.
That's fine. Thanks for those brilliant points. So we have another question coming from Mercy Bolaji. Is Mercy online? If Mercy is online, she can give a question.
Yes.
Nice.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate you all for taking out to deal with.
Please, can you be a bit louder?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time. It's the same as the one someone asked about.
Hello, Mercy. Please, we've lost you. If you can come again.
Yeah.
No, we can't hear you very well. You can actually drop the question in the chat box if we are finding it difficult to hear you. Hello. We can hear you. So you can kindly leave the question in the chat box. Right. I think Carol has his hand up again.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity. I want to find out does the OKP scholarship have any kind of restriction on whether you can stay in the Netherlands after study, you can come back, just as in the case of Chevening, where you have to come back to serve your country for at least 2 years. Does a similar situation applies to the OKP scholarship? Thank you.
Let me take this.
All right, you can go ahead.
Bless Carol. I was expecting someone to actually ask this question, and I thank God that it came up because I was also hoping to talk about it. And I know we all want to travel abroad, we all want to study abroad, and at the same time, we all want to make sure that we grow so well that we can be able to have something to give back to the society, both intellectually and money-wise or something. Yeah. So. The OKP does not allow, but it is not, it is tentative. You are expected to return after your study back to your country because they will pay for your flight. Your flight coming to the Netherlands will be paid for. And once you're done, they will also pay for it that you return. And they would notify the relevant government institution, like in the Netherlands, they call them municipality. They will notify the municipality. It's more like the local government in Nigeria, and I think Ghana, I don't know what Ghana calls it, but I know it's like the local government set up in Nigeria. So, but here they call them municipality. So your school will notify the municipality that you are done with your studies and you're expected to return your residence permit. However, if you want to stay back, there is what is called the Zokaye, or the orientation year, but it's called Zoka in Dutch. So what that means is like a 1 year, you have to stay back and work for a 1 year. Then after the 1 year, if you're not able to get a job or get something that can keep you in the Netherlands without you depending on the government, then you have to return back to your country. So that Zokaye, it's more like, I'll put it like an umbrella where you can, go on there and stay back, but then you're expected to return back to your country immediately after your study program. So you can decide to take the flight that OKP will book for you and go back to Ghana, then maybe stay like a month or two, then come back to the Netherlands and apply for your Zokaye. Your Zokaye is valid 3 years after your studies. So if you are graduating in 2021, you have between 2022, 2023, and 2024 to take up your orientation year. Once it passes 2024, you can no longer claim it. So it's 3 years after your studies, that's the duration, but it's just 1 year. Within those 3 years, you can pick any of the year, whether in 2023, to come back for your orientation year and then work. If you're able to get a job that can keep you here, the major thing is you don't have to depend on the government anymore, because as soon as your scholarship ends, or is your case, you take responsibility for yourself. No more allowance coming in every month for you. Your housing, you have to take care of it. Your feeding, everything. Your health insurance automatically expires. And over here, without that, you cannot be able to access some things. There's some jobs that you can't even get without the health insurance, because the job recruiters will ask you, do you have a valid health insurance that can cover you during your work with us? So if you don't have all those things, I'm sorry, but you have to go back to your country. But LKP expects you to return, but it's tentative. So.
All right, thank you very much. So the next question is coming from Mr. Francis Amestawu. If you are there, you can kindly ask your question.
Okay, please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. And I'd like to thank you all for the wonderful presentation. Actually, I've been trying to apply. I tried applying last year, and the whole process was just too daunting for me. So I'm glad you guys took your time, and at least I know the process where to start from and all that. And then again, I was happy when the lady said, the lady presenter, I didn't catch the name, but she said that, okay, it's good to, let someone assist you either via proofreading or, guidance. And since you guys are kind of our focal people now, I was wondering if you guys would be available to do that. Then my second question has to do with more like a suggestion. If I don't know, the people who underwent this training, this is it a workshop or something, if we could be put in a group, maybe a WhatsApp or a Telegram group. I know it's a lot of groups when it comes to WhatsApp, but at least for the next 3 months or 6 months, when most of us I know who are interested in applying for either a master's or scholarship, if you guys could be in a group, then anytime we hit a block, you guys could assist us. I think that will be fantastic. Then lastly, I think the reason why I didn't complete my application was because of the government. I'm in Ghana anyway. The government, what's it called? Government letter or something. I think when you apply, it says 2 weeks, and I wasn't within the 2 weeks. And knowing Ghana, sometimes it might even take more than 2 weeks. So my fellow colleagues that are in Ghana, I think we have to apply for the government letter quite earlier than maybe 2 weeks that was advertised on the page. So that's more like a caution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for those brilliant suggestions. So we'll take them into consideration. Since we have your mails, if we have any plan of doing any of what you've suggested, especially concerning the WhatsApp, we can still get back to you. We can still get back to you. So we'll consider it. So
and maybe I don't know if you could kindly share. I don't know. That's if they agree. The facilitators, their details, so that's if the WhatsApp group doesn't come on. Then if we have any concerns or we can reach them or something, I think that would be fantastic. Thank you.
That's fine. So we'll speak with them and see their concerns, whether they will agree to leave their social media handles and others. I think that will be fine.
Prince, I just want to comment a bit. Francis was talking about, the delay in getting the government statement. You should be very careful and very attentive of the timing, especially when the scholarship opportunity opens, because for the OKP Masters application, usually opens around the first week or the second week of February. That's usually the time they open. And mostly it lasts a month. So it is from February to March. So at least before it opens or while you are try to have whatever you need, you have your essays, you have the employer statement, you have your government statement before the application opens. It helps you, or at least start the process before the application process opens. It will at least help you so that you can still be on time and submit everything right. Nice.
All right, thank you very much, Eric. So at this point, I don't think there is any other question. Mercy said she had wanted to ask on the IELTS, but that has been answered already. So at this point, I would like to take your final words. I'll start with Eric once you're already on the floor. So your final words.
Well, this has been, it was just fun sharing experiences. Personally, I've been through this process twice. I tried the first time and I didn't get it in 2019. So I learned from what I did wrong, what were my mistakes, and looked for mentors who actually been through the process, and okay, so I tried it again, and yes, I did. So it's about not giving up. It's about also believing in yourself. Everything is possible. So thank you all, and I'm open for any questions or any concerns anyone wants to share. I have no problem.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's nice having you. You've given us brilliant presentations. We are so much grateful. And final words, Vincent.
Well, I'm going to cap this up in my final word. I think that's concerning the expectations or the outcome of the OKP. Sometimes, just to spice us, just to give us hope, sometimes people drop their scholarship or people reject it when they offer the OKP scholarship. So in such times, if you appear to be in the waiting list of the OKP, maybe they already sent you an email that you didn't succeed, but then if you're in the waiting list of the OKP, you stand a chance of being picked to fill up the person that dropped or rejected his or her scholarship. I'm a living witness to that. My first applying to the OKP for a training, I didn't get it. The second time I applied, I was also told that I didn't get it. But then just 2 weeks before my program started, before the training I wanted to go started, I got a phone call, not an email. I got a phone call from the organization or from the institution asking me to come for the training that I've been selected when I was told initially that I didn't make it. So this thing is just basically to try your best, do as much as you can, take into consideration some of the points that I've embraced here in the meeting and see how to forge ahead. Like I said, when I started, your dreams are valid and the universe will always respond to your imagination. You just keep professing it and keep believing in it. You'll get it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Sorry. Please, one last question, please. I beg you. Please, can you apply to more than one institution? And can you apply for masters and also apply for a training program? Thank you.
Yes, you can apply to more than one institution or university, so long as the course you're applying for in this institution are covered by the OKP. But then OKP cannot give you 2 scholarships in these 2 institutions. So what they will do is probably to run your data across their database and see the school that you stand out the most and then recommend. So long as, because it's your embassy that we actually assess your application across the things you bring in. So, but then you can apply to more than one schools that you want to use OKP to get it. But then you can't get OKP in all of the school. You have to use OKP in one school.
All right. Francis, hope you are fine with that.
I'm very fine. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So I think at this point, we would like to bring the webinar to an end. We thank you all very much for making your time to attend, and we hope to see you in our subsequent webinars again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prince. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and of course, best wishes.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Thanks for coming because I've been
Thank you.
everybody to talk to.